So yeah, just speak, chat it up.
All right.
You got it.
All right. So this is about Alex, my one-on-one that I had in 2017 to 2018 when I lived in Phoenix. He was at the time 10, and when I met him, he was in a wheelchair. And he could move, but he cannot walk. So if he got out of his wheelchair, he would scoot around. But when I first met him, he wouldn't do anything. He wouldn't even talk. So for the first 2 weeks when we would do assignments, I would do the assignment with him. And when I moved him from room to room, sometimes I would have to move him to the restroom. And that was a chore because I'd have to assist him with getting up, and then he would do his thing, but I would have to hold him up. And then when he was done, he would take care of it, whatever, and then sit back in the chair. And as we got to get to know each other, as we started communicating, I was giving him more dialogue. I would tell him about myself, tell him what I had been through. And what perked him up was when I started telling him about my own personal experiences, because at one point I wasn't walking. I was not in a wheelchair, but I had to, I could move myself, but I could only, move for limited periods of time. So like if we went to the store, I could walk a short distance, but I would have to sit in a scooter to get around in the store. And so when I was telling him these things, he was kind of shocked because I was walking. And I told him, I said, I didn't walk with a cane because my walking was limited because I was diagnosed with a movement disorder called Parkinson's. And they called it young onset because most people get Parkinson's when they're in their 60s and 70s. I was only 35 when it started. So when he got to understand that I had limitations too, he started opening up, and we would talk and play. And within 3 months, some of the teachers that worked there they would come up to me and they would say, "Why are you doing so good?" And I'd be like, "Okay." And it was like, "He used to never do that. What did you do to him?" I started treating him like he's a human being. I said, he just needed somebody to show him that he's important. And he just started talking, and he started doing work more, and he started interacting with his peers more. And even though he couldn't go play with them because they were really super exercising and he's very limited. So if he was able to sit outside, I would take him out, and we was, it was in Phoenix, it stays warm all year round. So when the winter months came, he would go out, and sometimes I would roll him around with his friends, and he'd sit and be able to talk to him. And when we have lunch, we all sit together, and I would have to help him open his milk. Sometimes I'd have to help him scoop up some of his food if he had trouble getting it. But he could do much of it himself. And he could write slowly, but he could write. And sometimes if he did his homework, I would, talk to him and help him with the answers, and then he would write the answers down. And by the time that school year was up, everyone would say he was a totally different person. And the only bad thing was that the end of the school year came and I discovered that I was moving here. And so that didn't go over well with him, because at one point we were talking and I was telling him about, he was saying that he wishes that his wheelchair was a rocket. I said, huh? I said, do you think someone could fix it up? He said, yes, so I could go with you forever. Yeah, that was the moment. And I was like, man. But he's not my child, so I was like, I couldn't take him with me. But that whole school year was a big difference for him. And for me, I had come out of my comfort zone too, because I wasn't used to having to lift and move anybody. And, I wasn't used to spending time with one person the whole day. When I was doing my after school program, I had kids like we have here. So it was a lot to get used to having just one person. But it was very good because it taught me that, I can do either or. I can be with one child or I can do 20 kids. And it helped me come out of my comfort zone because I wasn't used to having to do as much physically as I did with him. So it was a learning process for both of us. He was a really good kid. So The saddest day was when I had to say goodbye because the school year was ending and I was leaving also. So the school year ended May 25th, 2018, and May 31st, we left. So it wasn't very much longer after that. And then we moved here.
And with that experience, can you also just say in general why you think mentoring is important?
Mentoring is extremely important because children don't know what they don't know. And when they have someone older and more experienced, when they can tell things that they're going through, and when you can tell them things that you've been through and let them know that, yes, it's difficult, yes, that's hard, yes, that hurts, but you know, I'm a lot older than you and I made it through. So I'm not going to belittle what you're going through because what you're going through is important. So I can help you when you're struggling. So I didn't have that as much when I was growing up, but I got help later in my teens. These kids aren't even teenagers yet, so they're getting something that a lot of us weren't able to get ourselves. And so when they see that, you know, we're there for them and we listen to them and understand what they're trying to say instead of just saying, oh, you'll be okay. They don't need to hear that. They need to hear that, you know, what they're going through is important. It can be something as small as a paper cut. Because one of my kids here, they were upset because they had a paper cut and it was bleeding and they put some sanitizer on it and it stung. And I was like, yeah. I said, that hurts. I said, I can't stand that. He said, you did that too? I said, yes. I said, one day I was walking and put someone and I felt that. I was like, no. I said, that hurts. Paper cuts hurt. So we started laughing. So they, you know, when you show them that the big things are big things and the little things are still big things, but, you know, we understand that, yes, that happens, but, you know, we'll be okay. I said, you know, once you wipe it off, it'll be okay. And when they see that, you empathize with them and you care about what they're going through. It shows and it matters.
Perfect.